I thought it was really good because the topic came through. So you think you want to date a pastor. And I was like, that's a good one. I did. I thought about said, that's a good one there. And I think that's a really good one for real, man. You know, you'll be surprised how many people fantasize about dating and marrying a pastor. And I just don't think you should do that. I just don't think you should. Y'all do me a favor, like, share, and tag, man. Welcome to Bandwidth. Thank you all for tuning in. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're well. I just don't think you should do that, right? Let me ask y'all a question. Would y'all date a pastor, ladies? Or men? Men, would you date a pastor? Because women can be pastors. Would you all date a pastor? I want to hear from you. Let me see what you say. Let me see. Would you all date a pastor? Don't lie. I didn't say your pastor. I said a pastor. I don't know who on here. Would you? Just say yes, no, maybe so. I want to hear from you. Let me see what you're talking about. I see I wouldn't. Somebody says, no, sir, not willingly. Unless, so I guess they're saying, unless the pastor forced me to date me. Somebody says, nope. I see some no's. I see, no, because the whole congregation. I'm going to talk about that. I see nope. No, sir. Nope. No, sir. Somebody says, I would. Oh, look at there. I don't think God has done enough work in me yet. Hasapanta. That's good. Probably not. Oh, that's really good. A senior pastor. No. That's perspective. That's good. I don't need first lady problems. Absolutely not. I felt that one out in my soul. Absolutely not. That's good. Whom else shall reply to the beckoning of this? I think I would. Depends on what you are about to say, though. I see I'm good. No, sir. Depends. I had a really good joke when I said that, but I'm not going to say that. It would have to be the will of God. That's a good answer. I felt that in my soul too. It would have to be the will of God. Let's get into it, y'all. 95% of pastors report not praying daily or regularly with their spouse. 95% of pastors report not praying daily or regularly with their spouse. That's interesting, right? Because in the charismatic church, we always say things like, find you a man that knows how to pray. Yeah. And ironically enough, 95% of pastors report not praying daily or regularly with their spouse. 80% believe pastoral ministry has negatively affected their families. 80% of pastors believe that pastoral ministry has negatively affected their families. Many pastors' children do not attend church now because of what the church has done to their parents. 23% of pastors report being distant to their family. 77% of pastors, especially millennials, though, young pastors ages usually born around 1978 to 1990, are spending 20 or more hours with their families each week. 57% of pastors being unable to pay their bills. Okay. So 57% of pastors are unable to pay their bills. 53% of pastors are concerned about the future, families, financial security. 70% of pastors do not have someone they consider a close friend. The reason I'm giving you these statistics, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to understand that pastors are real people. And before you sign up and stand in line to go and date a pastor, it can be very, very difficult. Matter of fact, it is very difficult. I want you to understand what he thinks or what she thinks, what they go through. So it is not a lavish lifestyle. We'll talk more about that later on. So 70% of pastors do not have someone they consider to be a close friend. 80% of pastors' wives feel 80% of pastors' wives feel unappreciated by the congregation. 80% of pastors' wives feel unappreciated by the congregation. 80% of pastors' wives feel pressured to be someone they are not and do things they are not called to do in the church. I'll say that again. 80% of pastors' wives feel pressured to be someone they are not and do things that they are not called to do in the church. Over 50% of pastors' wives feel that their husbands entering ministry was the most destructive thing to ever happen to their family. I'll say that again. Over 50% of pastors' wives feel as if their husbands entering ministry was the most destructive thing to ever happen to their families. Yeah. So here are the numbers. Here are the numbers, and these are real people taking real surveys who are in real ministry. They're real spouses to pastors. And this is what they're saying. I want to read that last one again. For everybody that wants to dream about being with a pastor and all that stuff is foolishness. Over 50% of pastors' wives feel that their husband's entering ministry was the most destructive thing to ever happen to their families. Let's talk about some cons concerning dating a pastor. Some of this stuff you won't like. All right. If you don't like it, if you don't agree with it, log off, because it's just what it is. It's just what it is. It's not. Well, I feel like this. If you feel like a certain way, you probably have no experience dating someone that's a public figure or some type of leadership role. So it's not about feelings. It's about what comes along with being the spouse or the girlfriend or boyfriend to a pastor. It's almost like the statistics about law enforcement officers. The average police officer has been married more than one time. The average police officer has abused alcohol, ironically enough. The average police officer deals with a lot of domestic violence calls are involving law enforcement families. So every industry, every career, if you will, has a statistic, has a lifespan, if you will, blah, blah, blah. What I'm about to tell you these are some of the facts, the pros and cons of dating and marrying a pastor. Let's get into it. All right. Before I say that, I want you to think about your particular job. And consider this. Your supervisor doesn't expect you, or it doesn't expect your significant other to know the things you know or be at work with you. Your supervisor doesn't expect your significant other or your spouse to know what you know, to put forth the same effort that you put forth at work, or to even show up to work. That's common sense, right? Well, in the pastoral world, the first lady is expected to know what the pastor knows, be present when he's present, put forth the same effort, care like he cares. This is expected in the church world of the first lady. This is the only field where the career, the parishioners, the people expect the first lady to be at the same level and have the same capacity and have the same knowledge and have the same grace and anointing of that pastor. That pressure is very heavy. Here it is. Here's some cons to dating a pastor. Number one, understand something, y'all. Understand something. It should be kept a secret if you are dating a pastor. It should be kept a secret. Dating a pastor should be kept a secret. You cannot go around announcing your relationship with a pastor. Period. You should not go around announcing your relationship with a pastor. Ever, ever, ever. The average pastor will tell you, if you all are dating, do not say this or share this relationship with anyone. Until there is a proposal and a wedding, a relationship with a pastor should not be made public. Here's why. Understand that he or she, I'm going to say he because the male dominates that particular role. I'm not going to not say she because I believe that women should not be pastors. No, I have, most of my elders are females. So I'm just saying for the sake of the conversation, I don't want to have to say he or she. I'm just going to say he. I'm going to use that gender because it's the dominating gender in this particular field. All right. So for the sake of time, I'm going to say he. He is a spiritual leader. He is a leader of many people, many age groups. He has a reputation to uphold. His moral lifestyle is always visible, and there are great expectations of his morality. He has no business introducing a girlfriend. It automatically diminishes his authority, his maturity, etc. Hear me very carefully. Understand that you all are just dating. You're just a girlfriend. Love you. You're just a girlfriend. Appreciate your story. You're just a girlfriend. So that means there is a possibility that you all will not work. And if you all don't work and he goes out and he dates someone else and he's expected to introduce her as a girlfriend and that does not work, what does that automatically make him look like? You fill that in. The lives of leaders come with a level of discretion. If in fact you are not okay with discretion, if in fact everyone has to know, you got to announce it to your mama, your cousin, your daddy, your sister, your brother, your friends, everybody in the church, all of that. Hear me very carefully. You have no business dating a pastor, because the higher you go, the more responsibility that man has, specifically public responsibility. Remember, this ain't Jay Sean. This is a leader. He or she is a public figure, a spiritual leader. He ain't even the mayor. He's a spiritual leader. So there is a moral compass that he's expected to have that even people don't put on politicians. And so they can't be just walking around with a girlfriend, and then if that doesn't work, introduce another girlfriend, and if that doesn't work, introduce another girlfriend. You understand what I'm saying? It looks unstable. It looks as if he or she may be promiscuous, and that may not be the case, but reputation and image is everything in the role of leadership. Understand that you must have a level of discretion if you're going to date a pastor. And if you want to have the average, you want to be able to announce it and let all your girlfriends know and let everybody know, you want to do all of that, then you probably don't need to consider dating a pastor. Number two, time. If you're not willing to share time with his church, his responsibilities, A, B, C, and D, then you should not date a pastor. Time. You will have to share him. You will have to share him not just with a job. You will not, hear me, the average pastor works, get this, y'all, the average pastor works 55 to 65 hours a week. Some people put in 70, hours. The average work week for the average person is 40 hours. The average pastor's work week is 55 to 75 hours a week. Hear me very carefully. So you're not sharing him with a job 8 to 5. You're sharing him with you're sharing him with an unpredictable time. You're sharing him with other people. You're sharing him with other responsibilities. You're sharing him with a lot. And if you're not willing to do that, then you may want to stay away from a pastor. Number 3, hear me. Let's talk about some church etiquette. If you happen, we're not even talking about whether or not you should date in the church. We're just talking about just dating. If you happen to attend the church or go to the church or visit the church, do not expect any type of special treatment. Don't sit close to the pastor, all of this, trying to make yourself visible so everybody else will know. Sit in the audience with everybody else and leave. He is not obligated to create a special section for a girlfriend. What the devil? Swig of water on this. If you don't listen to me. Don't sit close to him. That's what wives do. There is no special treatment sections dedicated to girlfriends. Understand that. Understand that. Beloved, no special treatment for girlfriends. I'm going to keep going. Number 3, he is not obligated to acknowledge you. He is not obligated to acknowledge you. There's absolutely no place in the church for a girlfriend. None. None, Zion. He is not obligated to introduce you to the church, to his leadership, to his inner circle, to his other pastoral friends, whatever. He's not obligated to. So remember this, if you are demanding to be acknowledged, you may not want to be with a pastor. Remember that we only are obligated to introduce our fiancés and our wives. The church should not, if the church happens to know or speculate who you're involved with, the church should not be giving a girlfriend any type of special treatment. And that pastor, ladies, you should never force him to introduce you or acknowledge you as someone that's significant in his life. Ever, ever, ever. You need to stop that immediately. Number 4, don't expect a life on social media. You can't broadcast your relationship or relationship problems on social media. You cannot broadcast, if you're dating a pastor, you cannot broadcast your relationship or relationship problems on social media. If in fact you do that in any form, you have no business dating a pastor. Let me give it to you like this. If you and a pastor are dating and you take to social media to express your grievances, to express your insecurities, I don't care what platform it is. I don't care if it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all the Slack, all of it. If you hear me, I'm talking to every pastor. If you find out she has taken to social media to express any type of grievance about you, dating you, how she feels, she should not be trusted and you should never date her. God bless you. Love everybody. Beloved. Dad would say it like this. He would say, if she does that, son, if she broadcasts the relationship, if she puts it on Twitter, if she go and tell all her friends and family about what y'all got going on, what you don't like, what y'all doing, how y'all having sex, if y'all having sex, whatever, she has automatically disqualified herself. Period. Love you so much. Get this. Here's why. Because being a first lady will come. Listen to me. The stuff coming along with being a first lady is going to put you in such a precarious situation. You're going to feel pressure. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be offended. You're going to be mad. You're going to be emotional. And you cannot uncover what's going on in ministry by putting things on Twitter. And you think that people don't know. Oh, people love to put 2 and 2 together. Everybody, listen to me. Everybody should be politically police officers because we are detectives. We be putting stuff together. Oh, I know they talking about this. You think they talking about that. And so when you don't have an emotional discipline and you decide to journal your feelings on social media, you have no business dating a pastor, and you shouldn't be trusted. You're immature like a child. That's what we did when we were kids, when MySpace came out, when Twitter first came out. I'm in that generation when Twitter first came out and MySpace, we subtweeted. If you're dating a pastor, that means, and you would subtweet and sub Facebook and put on statuses and put little different quotes to talk about how you feeling, A, B, C, and D, or taking pictures of him and mistakenly posting it and all that foolery, you shouldn't be dating the pastor. Come on, close. Let's do it. Let's do it, beloved. Let's have a conversation. Log off if you must, but we shall continue to dialogue. Log off if you must. Yes, you have no business. That means you need to go and date Billy Bob that you can subtweet about. But hear me, Billy Bob, nobody's following him. Nobody's listening to him. Nobody's entrusting their lives into his hand. So you can uncover Billy Bob. You shouldn't do that. That's dishonorable. But understand that you're not dealing with an average Joe. All right. Number 5. It doesn't mean that he's hiding the relationship. You need to understand that. Well, I don't want to be no secret. Bye. You don't have to. Ain't nobody forcing you to be in the relationship. It's not about that. You have to understand who he is. It's not about being a secret. It's about him or her being ready to take it to the next level to go public. Because you know why? Hear me very carefully. Your cousin Jay Sean or Rufus or Bobby, Valentine, whoever, hear me, when nobody's going to screenshot them. Nobody's going to talk about them. No, it's not going to be a rumor created about him, but people are not going to leave his church. You have to understand that he's not just thinking about, you're just thinking about the relationship. He's thinking about the church. Will the people receive it? Will the people like it? A, B, C, and D. He's thinking about rumors. He's thinking about allegations, or let's say rumors coming out, true or false, because some things are true. Some things will be false. He's thinking about a lot of things. You're just thinking about somebody knowing that everybody knowing that you belong to him and he belongs to you. That's the only thing you're thinking about. And hear me, your cousin, your mama, your aunts, your daddies, your uncles, none of these people will ever understand it unless they have been in those seats of leadership, specifically pastoral seats. I said what I said. Don't date a pastor now. Run. Number 6, don't date him because of the profession. Don't date him because of the profession. Don't date a pastor because you think that that's some type of glorified position. I want a parking space. I want a seat in the pulpit. I want to have me an armor bearer too. Somebody to come and get me some water and give me some tissue. Now you ain't preach nothing, can't do nothing, but you got an armor bearer. What is that? Whatever an armor bearer is. No, I'm gonna get me an office. I want to dress real good. I want to dress with a big old hat and fancy clothes. Yeah, no, don't date because of the profession. Absolutely not. If you're drawn to the profession more than you're drawn to the person, run. You have no business dating a pastor. Here's another one. The office is not an extension of house or anything like that. You come to his house, y'all date A, B, C, and D, blah, 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 blah. This is for the first ladies too. The office of the pastor is not an extension of the house. The office is for church duties and a quiet place for the pastor to study and prepare. You do not have the right to walk into his office and do what you want to do. You need to kill that immediately. The office of the pastor's office in a church is not an extension of home or anything like that. No, nobody has rights to the pastor's office other than if he gives you those rights. Understand that? Number 7 or whatever, no arguments. Hear me. You have to tread lightly when dating a pastor. When being married, you have to understand that the assignment, we call the assignment, the gospel is way more important than what he did or what you don't like or your feelings or your emotions. You need to understand that. So you can't get up on Sunday morning and argue and fuss. You have to understand that you have to respect the role. You have to respect him. You have to respect God enough to say, I'll take up my grievance with him later on. He has something to do. It's almost like dating a surgeon and he gets called in to do emergency surgery, and you bring up, well, are you going to take out the trash? Why would you do that? He's about to go save a life. We have to look at the pastor the same way. He's about to go save lives. Why would I bring up what he did or did not do? So you see the maturity that has to happen. You have to have, and if you're not a considerate woman, you have no business considering dating a pastor. All right, here's the last one. Then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you like 10 tips to date a pastor. Here's the last one. Get rid of all normal expectations that you may have of a regular relationship. Get rid of all normal expectations you may have of a regular relationship. Time. Oh, we're going to travel the world. Oh, we're going to be, whining and dining. Always going to be romancing. It don't work like that, y'all. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Not all the time. Get rid of those normal expectations. Here's another one. Just because you're dating a pastor, don't expect marriage. Give him, he or she, the right to just date. Don't put he a pastor, so he should automatically be trying to marry you. Why? Why? Tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why he is a pastor or she's a pastor. She should automatically, or he should automatically be saying, let's get married. Tell me why. Somebody, you bold enough to do it. Tell me why. I'm asking. Don't expect marriage just because he is a pastor. Do not expect marriage just because he's a pastor. Why do you expect marriage? What? Something? What? Tell me. Who told you that a pastor got to go and get married just because he's dating you? Paul wasn't married. Jesus wasn't married. John the Baptist wasn't married. Why? Get rid of all those expectations. Here's another expectation. Get rid of the expectation that you're going to have this lavish lifestyle. All right. Why am I saying that? Why am I saying get rid of that average? Get rid of the expectation that you're going to have a lavish lifestyle. I'll prove it to you. Here's one. 53% of pastors are concerned about their future family's financial security. The average pastor is afraid to go to the board or go to the finance committee and ask for a raise because they don't want to be accused as being greedy. So nothing's lavish about being a pastor's wife. Run from it. All right. Here it is, y'all. I'm about to give you some tips. Understand this, y'all. A pastor will always be surrounded by a number of women. You need to know that. You need to expect that. So if you have insecurity problems, jealousy problems, it ain't for you. Go and get Jay Sean. It will challenge your security level. Just because you have them doesn't mean that nobody else wants them. You need to understand that. Being a pastor's girlfriend or wife or whatever, you need to understand that he will be surrounded by a number of women. So it will challenge your insecurity. It will challenge your ability to be okay with all the people, mostly women, that he's going to be around. Remember this, just because my brother sent me this, just because you have them, it doesn't mean that they don't want him. And you cannot be insecure. You cannot be always just asking him questions about her and all about it. You can't do it. Number 2, it requires a big heart. Real pastors love people and they love fellowshipping with people. So a lot of times you will see that a pastor will oftentimes include leadership, people in the church, new members, A, B, C, and D, whatever the context of that pastor's ministry is. Hear me. Always question a pastor that don't want to be around people. Get this. And you shouldn't be a pastor's wife or girlfriend if you don't like people. I would never marry anybody that says I don't like people, because you're going to mess up my whole church. Because you got to love people even when you don't like them. You got to spend time with people. I would never, ever, ever, ever marry a person that does not want to be, they don't, because that's what it's about. We're in the people, we're not in the preaching business, we're in the people business. So if you got a significant other, I don't like people, I can't fool with people, I don't deal with people well. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's your prerogative. I'm saying don't try to marry a pastor, because that's all he's gonna be around is people. He ain't around plants. He's around people. If you don't hear me, if you are always, I'm going to get you now. If you're always in junk, and if you're always in mess, and if every time you turn around, there's some type of drama with you, you do not need to date a pastor, because a pastor is a problem solver. He's trying to bring people together. You will hurt his ministry, woman of God. You will hurt his ministry and hurt his reputation if you're not good with people. If you are poor with people, you have no business being on the arms of a person, a pastor that is in the people's business. I don't care, or whatever business he's in, but understand this: a doctor ain't bringing his wife to the hospital. A lawyer ain't bringing his wife to the courtroom. A police officer ain't bringing his wife on the road with him. But a pastor, listen, if a pastor doesn't bring his wife to church, people start wondering what's going on. I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes. Give me a few minutes, y'all. Give me a few minutes. I need to give you this information. Hear me. He has a big heart. You should have a big heart. Even if you don't understand, you should be, get this, you should be an expert with people. You should be able to pull people together, talk to people, communicate with people. That's what a pastor needs. He don't need nobody in the pulpit with him. Every time he quote a scripture, you quote one too. Y'all preaching together. No, that's not what he needs. Number 3, you're not going to be able to command all of his attention. If you are needy, don't consider being a first lady. If you are needy, don't consider being a first lady. Number 4, it's a challenging responsibility. People look to you for inspiration, guidance, leadership, mothering to a degree, for prayer. You become, watch this, you become a sense of hope for congregants. The women will be inspired by you. The men in the church will want someone like you. So it's a challenging responsibility. It's not just sitting there looking cute. You have to carry yourself in such a way, because people will look to you for inspiration. So you got to know how to inspire people. People going to come. They're going to come and ask you, "Hi, first lady, I got to ask you a question about my job." And you have to be able to inspire people. You have to be able to give people guidance, because they expect you to be an extension of him. So because he can give guidance, they expect you to give guidance. Because he can pray, they expect you to pray. Because he can lead, they expect you to lead. You listen, and then you will be some people's surrogate mother. There are people who they didn't have a mother, and they will look to you for mothering to a degree. And you can't be like, No, you have to make yourself available. Understand that. So that it is a challenging responsibility. It is not just saying, "Preach, baby, preach, boo." No, it's challenging. Number 5, you will get lonely. You'll get lonely at home. He won't always be there. And when he's there, he may not be there. And you cannot share everything with your family. You got to understand that. You can't share everything going on with your family. You can't share everything with your friends. Oh, you're absolutely disqualified. That's the person of God, whether it's male or female. You can't, once you get into that role, you can't say everything about what's going on at home with your friends and your family. No, sir. You'll get lonely in the ministry. Why? Because you have to understand, listen to me, when you become a first lady, you can't be having a bunch of friends in the church that when things are not going right, or when you're frustrated, when you're lonely, you start discussing marital issues with people in the church. You know why? Because remember, he is their pastor first, not your friend or associate, not your armor bearer, not any of that first. He is their pastor first, and they cannot handle his humanity. They can't handle all of his discrepancies. They can't handle the fact that you may be frustrated. They can't handle the fact that y'all may not be having sex as frequently. No, 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 no. So you will get lonely. And I'm going to tell you how to solve that lonely problem in a minute. Number 6, you have to always represent well. Dress for success. Dress like you're serious about life. Dress like you're healthy and whole. Dress like you're a queen. Dress like people are watching you. Dress like you're proud to support the assignment of your husband. Dress like you are a leader. Dress, give people an example. Show young women and other women how to carry themselves. I'll prove it to you like this. Understand that we have never seen Michelle Obama in a bonnet. We've ever. She's the first lady of the country. You become the first lady of a congregation. So you become an extension and you become an example. You got to dress for success. You can't ever be caught slipping. Number 7, your marriage should be your top priority, not the church. Your marriage, let him cover the church, you cover him. Let him cover the church, you cover him. Let him encourage the church, you encourage him. Your marriage, let him, he's called to the house of God. You should be called to him. We understand that we all work together in the partnership A, B, C, and D. But you don't wake up in the morning saying church, 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 church. Do that secondly or thirdly. You wake up in the morning saying babe, 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 babe. Making sure that he's good. Number 8, I'm almost done. Control your tongue. Remember this phrase. It's a matter of ministry security. In the White House, it's a matter of national security. I'm going to slow down on this one. It's a matter of ministry security. If you cannot control your tongue, you should not be dating a pastor. If you're a gossiper now, you're going to be a gossiper when you get married to a pastor. Hear me very carefully. Preachers' wives, they know and they're privy to a lot of information. People tell things that wives, that first ladies wish they could not hear, wish they never knew. Discretion is key and should be a priority. Remember, if something is repeated, it could destroy people and it could put a disdain on your husband and his church. You even have to go to the extreme of teaching your children this one phrase. Don't repeat that. We heard that all of our lives. Don't repeat that. I'm almost done. Control your tongue. You can't slip up and say stuff. You can't make a mistake and say stuff. You can't make a mistake and send wrong text messages. No, it could hurt the entire church. It could destroy people. People's business getting out, people's issues being talked about. So you can't be like, oh, I want to tell this. No, sir, you got to control your tongue, son. Number 9, control your emotions. People can be vicious and malicious. You can't fight and beat people up. You have to see people in the church who are vicious, who've talked about your pastor, said mean things about him, done things to him, and you can't walk up and slap everybody. You can't walk up and tell people how you feel. You have to be professional. You have to have class, have to keep your class. You understand what I'm saying? You have to do that. So you got to control your emotions and you got to help him control his. It can be very dark at times being the wife and the children of a pastor. It can be very dark and you will be offended a lot by the things that people say and do. And you have to control your emotions. You want to cover them. You want to fight for them. You want to ride on them. You want to ride on that, but you can't. You remember, you represent him. You represent yourself. You represent God. Have to keep it classy. Number 10, get a mentor. You need a mentor. If you don't have a mentor, if you're considering dating a pastor, you're dating a pastor, or you are married to a pastor and you don't have a mentor, you need to get one immediately. You need to get one. Why? You need to get someone to dump on. You need to get someone that you can talk to about different things. Get this, and it cannot always be your husband. There are things that there are things that you feel that your husband may not understand, or he may not have the time to talk to you about or talk to you through. You need to get a mentor so you can dump on. You need to get a mentor so you can have perspective. You need a mentor so you can have a coach. You need a mentor so you can have a safety net. This is how you should be living as a first lady, or you think you're about to marry a pastor, whatever. You need a mentor. Number 11, kill the need to be a hero. First ladies, it's not your responsibility to save everybody. You're going to want to, because you're going to have a heart for people. I'm hoping you have a heart for people, but psychology calls it the superhero syndrome, the hero syndrome. Kill the need to try. You can help people. You can help people, but you can't save everybody. Let God do the work. Help as many people as you can, but relinquish the need to have to save everybody. And that's for the pastor and his wife. Number 12. Here's the last one. No, you're not the pastor, but you're one of the most important leaders in that ministry. Like it or not. You'll be challenged beyond anything you've ever experienced. You'll be stretched. You'll be critiqued. Sometimes you'll be scrutinized. You'll be a lot. It's going to be tough. You are a leader, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, you are a leader. So you have to carry yourself like a leader. It's going to be difficult at times, but you are a leader. And that's what it's about. So you want to pray, you want to learn, you want to be reading, you want to grow. You want to make sure you have emotional control. Yeah. It's going to be difficult, but you are a leader. So the pressure will be on you to lead and lead well.